Welcome to episode 64. I will now show you the cause of all the weirdness in the previous episode. Let's get started. All right. Let's try a different strategy. Oh gosh, there's a phoenix from scale plate. So many things. I'm going to teleport to the Irukandji that's sitting here at this station, and then let the sin go on ahead without me, because I learned a very interesting tip that I did not know, and I bet most of you don't know either, about the difference between in-sector and out-of-sector simulation. We all think we know what that means, but I heard something yesterday that kind of shook me, and it might explain why things are going badly in this attempt. Now, we have the Asgard, we have an I, we have a K, and we have another I. And the situation is that this Asgard somehow survives and holds out with its shield regen, holds out versus these two eyes for a pretty long time, unless I come to help. And this puzzled me for the longest time, because in my mind, if it's on its own, it's taking much more fire, and it's going to die quicker. If I come and help, I can divert the attention of the eyes on me, and they can shoot at me instead of the Asgard for a while I'm pounding on the eyes, and the Asgard is pounding on the eyes, and that should help the Asgard survive, you would think, right? Right? Doesn't that make sense? But no, that's not how it works at all. What ends up happening is the moment I show up, the Asgard dies. It's like, what? Why does my presence make the Asgard die really quickly too, I might add? Like, these eyes, they dish out so much damage with those graviton guns that the Asgard's hull just goes boop, 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 and it's dead. It just takes a matter of like 30 seconds. And it's very alarming. So I've been puzzling this, and I got a tip that there's something called high attention and low attention. And it's not what you think. It's not in sector versus out of sector. See, I thought that if you're in another sector, whatever happens in this battle is pretty much mathematical, probabilities, some random number generation, guns and their chances of hitting, and their damage output, and their shield regeneration, and all of that stuff is calculated to basically mathematically determine the outcome of a large battle without actually simulating shots going through space and hitting and stuff like that, right? As soon as you come in sector yourself, you fly in sector, boom, everything is physically simulated in the entire sector. And all of the shots are physical projectiles going through space, and they cause the amount of damage that the shot is rated for, and so on. That's what I thought. That's not true. What's actually true is that the in-sector calculations, the simulations for in-sector, is actually a certain distance from your location. So if I'm here in this little ship here, then everything up to about here is simulated. Everything that's beyond that distance is considered out of sector. But it's not called out of sector anymore like it used to be in X3. It's called low attention versus high attention. It's essentially out of sector without you actually being out of the sector. So the short of it is that in sector no longer means the entirety of the sector that you are physically in. In sector is the area around your ship, roughly the area that you can see. So if you can see it being rendered in the distance, it's in sector. If you can't see it yet, that's out of sector. That's the difference. So what was happening in the last few times I tried is that I would hop in the Sin and tell all my destroyers to race to the Asgard's aid and blow up these eyes as soon as possible, right? Well, nothing of the sort happened because the moment that I showed up, everything in the middle here got simulated differently, causing the Asgard's death. Apparently, the Asgard's shield regen is quite high, and the graviton damage output is also quite high in sector, but not so high out of sector. And I don't know why that is exactly. I think that out of sector, it's trying to simulate it differently, so it just, it maybe it always hits and it just uses less damage just to accommodate for the fact that they always hit or something like that. I don't know what it does, but whatever the calculation is, it ends up causing much, much, much less damage from an eye out of sector. As soon as you get in sector and you're simulating things, the eye just creams you. So what I'm going to do, which is real ballsy, I'm going to try and send the Sin in without me. And when it gets to be right about here, I will teleport to it, which will change the simulation to in sector. And I'll rush and I'll just pound on the eye, take the eye out, and then hopefully I can do that before the Asgard dies. That's the gambit here, because this Asgard will last as long as I'm not near it. Probably, well, at least several more minutes at least, because it's still got shields and it's holding out. As soon as I show up, it dies. But if I send my Sin in by itself, it dies. That's the problem, because the Sin piloted by my NPC pilot is not going to do it. It's not going to be able to do this fight because the NPCs are never able to use the main guns effectively. So now that I'm sitting here in this Irukandji, as you can see from the boron in the background here, I'm going to order the Sin. Instead of fly and wait, I'm going to order it to attack. Which one? Probably this one. And I'm going to uncheck avoid high-risk enemies. In fact, I want to uncheck that for everybody. Oh, not only that, but we have a whole bunch of Argon coming in to help. Again, as long as I stay the hell away, the Asgard should hold out. That's the theory anyway. It's down to 14% shield, 12% shield. All right, here's one of my ships, the Behemoth, and he's coming to attack this one. The Sin is here, the Odysseus is here. Now this one just changed its orders. Why? It's trying to avoid high-risk enemy. I don't want it to do that. Attack. The Asgard is still losing its shields alarmingly fast. It's pretty much down. Now, the Sin has stopped, which is curious. I've got it set to attack, which it's apparently doing. I don't know. I don't know if these guys are getting... Now, this one's turning. This eye is turning. Maybe. Maybe it isn't. Yeah. This eye has no shields and 55 hull, 54 hull. The Hound is taking hits. The Asgard is still getting pounded on, but not as fast as if I was present. That is really important to consider. The Sin isn't taking any hits at all, which I'm very kind of weirded out by, because the Sin should be doing the most damage. But it does say it's attacking. I mean, it looks like it might be in range. As long as it's in range, that's the key, right? We want all these hits to be landing, if possible. Oh, look. Now, the eye is down to 45%. What are my other ships doing? Everybody seems to be hanging in there. I mean, the problem might be just my presence, right? Because I'm simulating it out instead of using low attention. I don't know. This eye might actually go down before the Asgard does, but let's just see what happens. I've got 4 destroyers attacking this eye, and the Asgard is kind of hanging in there. Oh man, but look at... This eye is actually starting to falter. 19% hull. Look at that. We might actually get this down. What is this guy doing? It says attack, so I don't know why he's flying the other direction. Maybe he's just putting some distance on. Yeah, that looks like it. Okay. 7% hull. Yeah, that's a good sign, guys. That's a good sign. That's a very good sign. 6% hull, 5% hull, 3%, 1%. Okay. Now the eye has just been killed, and the Asgard is still alive, which is really, really, really notable. Now I'm going to take all of my ships and tell them to attack this other eye, keeping in mind that the Asgard is also attacking. Let's see if that works. All right. Looks like the Asgard has a 1% shields, which... Oh, now it's down. Shields are down again. But the shield regen is continuous, right? I mean, so it's basically trying to tank all the damage that the I and the K are putting out. Look at that. It's gone up to 1% again. 3%. Ooh. That's a very good sign. 4%. All right, so the Asgard is actually tanking all the damage that is being dealt out. And all 4 of my destroyers are hitting this eye at the same time, including the Asgard's fire, which is taking the eye down. Now it's looks like it's losing hull despite having shields, which I'm not sure which weapons can do that, but somebody's shooting at it with weapons that can bypass shields, at least partially. This is very encouraging. This is quite possibly the answer to what I've been doing wrong. Yeah. So now, okay, so the shield is down to 31%. This eye is in serious trouble. Yep. Shield is down to 1%. Now it's going to be a hull. We're going to take these things down. But look at the Asgard is actually doing pretty badly. It's down to 13% hull. And his shields are just barely hanging in there. So we've got to quick get this eye destroyed so that the Asgard can recover. 1%. And the eye is dead. Okay, good. Whew. Now, all 4 ships have to be reassigned to attack the K. There's the Hound. There's the Sin. There's the Odysseus. And there's the Behemoth. Now, hopefully the Asgard will stick around long enough to help wipe out this K quickly, because I don't think the Asgard's really at risk of being destroyed at this point, being that the eyes are no longer hitting on it. It's at 11% hull, though, so it's pretty close. So we're going to watch this K's stats. It's at 10% shield, 3% shield, 76% hull, no shield, 75, 67. That Asgard is almost dead. 50%, 42%. The Asgard's at 12%, which is hanging in there, but 9% shield, that's good. That's... Hang on, I just want to check to see what is... Alright, so we got station defenses firing on a P. That is just fine. Alright, so this K has got 18% hull, 8% hull, and the K is dead. Woo! That was the thing to do. Okay, I had no idea that it made that much of a difference to be out of sector, or rather low attention. Specifically the Eye versus the Asgard, and that is because apparently the Eye versus Asgard is a much more lopsided battle in high attention. So now, now we have to figure out, oh hell, here's a Demos. Check this out. All right. I'm going to figure out, well, how do I go about capturing this Asgard now? Because the Asgard is at 12% hull, which is less than 20, which means that I can send my boarding party in and put the setting to weak hull, which will make the boarding pods cut through very fast because the Asgard's already very weak. What the main risk is how much turret coverage does the Asgard have? In other words, will the Asgard kill my boarding pods before they land on it? Because the Asgard is a big battleship and it has lots and lots and lots of turrets, and probably most of those are still intact, which means it'll just annihilate anything that tries to board. Yeah, so that's going to be tricky. And another thing that I need to do is I need to zip over there as soon as I can and do a scan. I can probably take like this Perseus that's docked to the Sin and teleport that. Yeah, why don't I do that? I'll teleport to the Perseus. Next up, I need to scan the Asgard. So I'm going to start guidance to the Asgard. And then take command of the spider.
Perseus, Vanguard.
And dock.
Awaiting orders.
Ooh, look at that. That's the big gun.
Asgard.
That's not allowed.
I know it's not allowed, but I did it anyway. Now, if I look at the Asgard crew, we can see that they've got 40 veterans and 11 recruits, which means that I am more than capable of taking them out with whatever. Now, this is going to be the tricky part, is how do I perform the boarding operation without getting annihilated? I mean, I would even sacrifice one of my Incarcachuas if it meant getting that Asgard, because you have no idea how much an Asgard is worth. It's just ridiculous. Let's take Big Raider 3. Well, actually, who holds my veterans? I've got 33 veterans on Raider 2. Where are they? Oh, they're all on Raider 1. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take Raider 1 and trade crew with Raider 3. We're going to move everybody who's not a veteran. Oh dear, you know what? No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that because I don't want... Remember, the risk here is mostly in boarding pods getting shot down. So I want to flood the Asgard with recruits, which are more expendable. So I need to swap crew with like one of my big freighters. Here we go. All right, I got a bunch of recruits on this one. So let's dump them there. Okay, this should work. So I'm putting 132 recruits and 55 veterans, which will be more than enough to take the Asgard. And I'm going to dump everybody except 39 apprentices onto the freighter. Probably also should have a peek at the armaments of this thing. So large starburst shockwave, large rotary pulse, light mason turret, large heavy HEMP. See, I know that one. Another light mason. Another light mason. Oh gosh, I am a bit worried about this because these light masons, that's what I have on the Sin, right? And those will just slaughter the boarding pods. I mean, they will. So, I mean, I suppose one thing I could try and do, you see, the thing is, if I try to take these turrets out, which I may or may not even succeed in, then I will take a huge hit. Not only that, but I'll aggro the Asgard, which is something you really don't want to do. Yeah, this whole thing is very big unknown. I don't know what's going to happen. I just don't know. This thing is heavily armed, and I don't know how you're meant to board it. But it's worth trying, purely because it's so expensive. thing has so many guns. So many guns. This is ridiculous. I can't believe I'm even trying this, but what I'm going to try and do, I wonder what happens if I try and dock with it. Like if I dock with the Asgard while I'm doing the boarding operation, can I do that? Docking granted. Okay.
Successfully docked.
So I'm now sitting on the Asgard.
You'll have to do better than that.
So the Asgard has been liberated. It was probably one of the toughest puzzles to figure out so far in this game, is the what on earth is going on, strange things happening, no idea why. Did some digging, figured it out, and yeah, now the Asgard is free and not going to die to those Xenon eyes. And the question now is there any way that I can maybe capture this for myself? Because an Asgard is an immense prize. It really is. In this game, it's so difficult to get an Asgard. They really, really put a high barrier of entry in this thing. So we're going to be working on that next. Until then, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.